Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. So let's start with how to love God. You can read Praveen.
I can,
Okay,
I'll
please,
read.
please. Thank you.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. How to love God. To love God in the most practical way is to love our fellow beings. If we feel for others in the same way as we feel for our dear ones, we love God. If instead of seeing faults in others, we look within ourselves, we are loving God. If instead of robbing others to help ourselves, we rob ourselves to help others, we are loving God. If we suffer in the suffering of others and feel happy in the happiness of others, we are loving God. If instead of worrying over our own misfortunes, we think of ourselves more fortunate than many others, we are loving God. If we endure our lot with patience and contentment, accept it as His will, we are loving God. If we understand and feel that the greatest act of devotion and worship to God is not to hurt or harm any of His beings, we are loving God. To love God as He ought to be loved, we must live for God and die for God, knowing that the goal of all life is to love God and find Him as our own self. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you. Um, and let's go to our reading for the day.
This is
So
part 3.
yeah, it's from part 3. So we finished part 1 and part 2, and like we were discussing, Praveen, it's classification. Now the final classification and the table is what will come out in the part
Yes.
3. Let me just. So what we saw in the last classification was associative and disassociative.
This is
And then the second principle, discriminative meditation and meditation of heart and action. And now we will go to general classification. Let's see what's covered in general classification from a subtopic standpoint. Meditation is universal, spiritually important meditation, general and specialized meditation.
specialized meditation.
Specialized meditation is practical. Practical purpose may prevail over formal truth. Function of general meditation. Both forms of meditation necessary. Different specialized meditations, and then the distinction between nirvana,
Nirvana,
nirvikalpa
Nirvikalpa,
samadhi, and sahaja samadhi.
Sahaja Samadhi. Yeah,
And there's also a table.
a table.
Okay. So after that, we go to part 4. Okay. So let's go to part 3.
Part 3.
You can read, Praveen.
Yeah, I'll
Jai,
start reading.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Types of meditation. Part 3. General classification of the forms of meditation. Meditation is universal. The process of meditation aims at understanding and transcending the wide and varied range of experience. When meditation is interpreted in this manner, it is at once seen to be something that is not peculiar to a few aspirants. It turns out to be a process that every living creature in some way is engaged in. The tiger intent upon devouring a lamb that it has spied meditates upon the lamb. The lamb, in its turn, having sighted the tiger, meditates upon the tiger. The passenger who waits on the platform for a train is meditating upon the train, and the driver of the train, expecting to be relieved at the next station, is meditating upon the station. The scientist who works upon an unsolved problem meditates upon that problem. The patient who is waiting with tense anxiety for a doctor is meditating upon the doctor, and the doctor who is awaiting payment of bill is meditating upon the account. When a police officer tries to catch a thief, they both meditate upon each other. The person who falls in love is meditating upon the beloved, and one who is jealously watching of jealously watchful of a rival is meditating upon the rival. The individual stuck with grief at the death of a friend is meditating upon the friend. Someone who seeks revenge upon an enemy meditates upon the enemy. The woman lost in choosing attractive clothes to wear is meditating upon herself as the body, and the man who boasts of his intellectual or physical attainments is meditating upon himself as the mind. Sorry. So these two paragraphs, Karthik, uh, should actually change our perspective of meditation. The
Exactly.
way the way we perceive the meditation, the word as it is.
Absolutely. That's why I marked it as well, because I think we think it's a very highbrow, specialized activity,
Exactly.
which is not for the not for everyone, and so on and so forth. But it's actually a day-to-day aspect of life which everybody indulges in.
Exactly. So if we take there was one example which was referred by many even in this group also. I think it was mainly many times even mentioned by Mandali as well. I think it was given someone given Monija Chisti or someone has given this example of how should we remember God is like villages when the women in village carry what you call
Pot.
that pots on their head of
Yes.
always keeping, but they do all the work by keeping head on the pots on the head on top of their head. It is the same way we should keep God in our mind. So it is something like always meditating in God, doesn't it? Isn't it? Like if you keep Him at the background, you are always meditating on God.
Yes, absolutely. Keep him as the constant companion. Keep him
Companion.
as yeah. That's a good point.
Yes, yes. Anyhow, this chapter and these expressions will further give more idea on how to do it. So let's go ahead. I think now.
So that's a good
Spiritually,
point. So did you meditate last week? You said you are in a you had a little break, but then did you pick up
yeah,
back?
yeah. That was because my son was not well for a while, so
Okay.
timings were not so conducive. Yeah, again, I picked up during this week.
Very good. Very good.
It's coming, but again, whenever you give a break and again start, it happens in such a way that your perspective changes. And I think Baba does this like to open new things. Like he will give you new things to think of, new ways by
Mhm.
through. And sometimes like these chapters actually, the readings which we do, weekend readings, gives many answers towards the questions that comes through the week
Absolutely.
somehow or other. So that's
That
how I
I
think
have
some,
seen.
yeah, isn't it? So that's why I feel that any break that comes also, Baba gives it intentionally to to teach us a better or another secret or whatever in whatever way you whatever word you can give. It is just to give us a more knowledge or more enlightenment. That's what I
Open
think.
up one more aspect and
Exactly.
expose us to something else. Yes, yes.
Fine. Good. Thank you. Let's move ahead.
Sure.
Spiritually important meditation. All these are, in a way, forms of meditation, but in spiritual discourses, the term meditation is usually restricted to those forms of meditation that tackle the problem of understanding experience intensively and systematically. So this is the line which we were which differentiates between the normal meditation and the spiritual meditation.
Correct.
In the above examples, meditation is a result of a natural application of the mind to the objects with which it is presented. In this application of the mind, the individual is almost unconscious of the ultimate purpose of the process of meditation. In the realm of spirituality, however, meditation in the initial stages at least is deliberate. During such meditation, the subject is more specifically conscious of the ultimate objective. Nevertheless, the forms of meditation, the forms of meditation characteristic of the spiritual life are continuous with those found throughout the world of consciousness. The spiritual forms of meditation spring into existence only when the other more general forms of meditation have brought the person to a certain crisis or blind alley. Then he is forced to choose the object of meditation in the light of some spiritual ideal and must also revise the manner of meditation he may have become accustomed to. The second paragraph, Karthik,
Yeah,
uh, I personally couldn't follow the second sentence, so I'm just reading it again.
sure, sure.
The first two sentences. So during such meditation, he is referring to the normal objective meditation. Okay, the subject is more specifically conscious of the ultimate objective.
Nevertheless, the forms of meditation,
Yes,
characteristic of.
characteristic of the spiritual
Go ahead.
life are continuous with those found throughout the world of consciousness. Okay, okay.
So basically, it's the spiritual forms of meditation are an extension in our
Uh,
journey into consciousness.
okay,
That's all.
okay. Okay. Got it. Good. Understood. Let's go to the next paragraph. Right.
Yeah.
General and specialized meditation. The spiritually important forms of meditation are of two kinds. General meditation, which consists in the assimilation of the divine truths, and specialized meditation, in which the mind selects some divine item or experience and is
A
exclusively,
definite item, not
yeah,
divine,
sorry,
definite item.
sorry. The mind selects some definite item of experience and is exclusively concerned with it. General meditation is only a carrying further of the ordinary thought process systematically and intensively. It is different from many spiritual meditations of a worldly person only in so far as the thought processes now come to be directed towards realities that have spiritual importance, and the mind makes intelligent use of the expositions of the divine truths given by those who know without renouncing its critical powers and inherent zest for the truth.
You can read the last line again. So,
Yeah.
divine truths given by those who know without renouncing its critical powers and
Critical
inherent justice.
power, inherent zest for truth. Okay.
You can read the
I'll
whole
read it
line.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, whole paragraph better.
Okay,
General and
sure.
specialized meditation. The spiritually important forms of meditation are of two kinds. General meditation, which consists in the assimilation of the divine truths, and specialized meditation, in which the mind selects some definite item of experience and is exclusively concerned with it. General meditation is only a carrying further of the ordinary thought processes systematically and intensively. So, general meditation is carrying further the general ordinary thought processes which actually goes in our mind,
So, if you
rooting
look at
them.
the first two paragraphs, he talked
Yeah,
about ordinary thought processes also being meditation. The lamb, the
correct.
doctor, the
Yes,
patient, everybody, right? So
yes,
it's an extension of that, but this is
yes,
more systematic and more intensive.
correct. Yeah, understood. It is different from many right? Yeah, pre-spiritual meditations of a worldly person only in so far as thought processes now come to be directed towards realities that have spiritual importance, and the mind makes intelligent use of the expositions of the divine truths given by those who know without renouncing its critical powers and inherent zest for the truth. So it is different from pre-spiritual meditation of worldly person. Pre-spiritual meditation means that those examples which he has referred to
Exactly.
ordinary thought processes. It is different from them insofar as insofar as now they come towards, now you are actually thinking the actual realities, the
Exactly.
divine truths which were
And
given by
also he
those.
introduces the master.
Yes, correct, correct. Okay. Given by renouncing the critical powers given by those who know. We, I think those who know, we should stop there,
Exactly. That's why I
isn't
asked
it?
you to read
Because
it. So
yeah,
the statement is those who know, and then
no,
the
without
clause
renouncing,
continues without
yeah,
renouncing
renouncing
its
its critical
critical
power.
powers and
Yeah, because those who know means masters and
master.
avatars.
That's
Yeah,
all. Yeah.
good, good. Fine. I'll go to the next paragraph now. So now, till from up to here, we understood the general meditation,
General. Yeah.
which is an extension of ordinary thought process, but you include the object of the ordinary thought process with the spiritual truth.
And you make it also, there were two words he uses, intensive and
Yeah.
uh, specialized. No. Intensive, there's one word he uses, no, specifically.
Systematic,
Systematic and intensive. Correct.
intensive. Yeah, correct. The specialized forms of meditation, on the other hand, imply and require something more than a pure intellectual approach to the truth. In the specialized forms of meditation, as in general meditation, the mind has an opportunity to have an intellectual understanding of the object of meditation. But in addition, they also help to cultivate mental discipline, develop capacities hitherto dormant, and unfold latent possibilities of personality. The problem in specialized forms of meditation is not theoretical but practical. Specialized forms of meditation are helpful for overcoming specific obstacles in the way of enlightenment and realization. They aim at controlling the mind and going beyond it. Specialized forms of meditation are more like the desperate attempts of a person to break through the walls of a prison than like the idle speculative activity involved in forming opinions about the strength of the different parts of the prison walls or what may be visible after breaking into the open. What do you make out of this specialized meditation, Karthik? Like breaking
So
through the path?
it's actually making progress and very real and practical rather than just uh, theoretical. So specialized. So just look at this last analogy. So it's
Yes,
not thinking about how to break out of the prison, but actually,
actually breaking the walls.
yeah, exactly.
So the walls are our sanskaras. Reality, the outside world is the reality, the God oversoul. So it is like it is. This is what I think that sublimation of sanskaras through meditation.
Correct. Meditating on spiritual concepts to make progress,
Yes,
spiritual
yes.
progress.
We should further meditate on this topic to understand much.
Yes.
Well, practical purpose may prevail over formal truth. In spiritual life, even a sincere mistake taken seriously may have more value than half-hearted allegiance to theoretical or formal truth. The practical purpose in the specialized forms of meditation must sometimes prevail, even at the cost of formal and theoretical truth. Thus, in meditation, while concentrating on a particular form or formula, no other form or formula can be allowed access to the mind, although intrinsically this other form or formula may have the same or even greater spiritual importance. If an aspirant has been meditating upon the form of one perfect master, he has to exclude from his mind all ideas of any other masters, though they are as perfect as the master on whom he is meditating. The formula of intensive thinking on the master can be as helpful in achieving the goal as the process of making the mind blank.
This is
It
a
is
big
again,
line. The formula of
yes,
intensive thinking on the master can be as helpful in achieving the goal as the process of making the mind blank. Making the mind blank is a very tougher approach. I mean, tougher aspect of meditation. But
correct.
even focusing on a master is a good way.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. So, in the if you go to the paragraph, you get a yeah, here. Now, in the second or third line, there is this sentence called thus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thus, in meditation, while concentrating on a particular form or formula. So, an example is given regarding form. That is when you are meditating upon a particular master. Exclude any other master, though they are equally perfect. Similarly, if you take meditation upon a formula, for example, you are meditating upon a particular topic. Now, you should concentrate only on a particular topic and leave all the thoughts that other on other topics.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
So
Here,
formula, I would
yeah,
say, is a dictum, line.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
neti
Yes, yes,
neti, we saw in the first chapter, right? So there were a
yes, yes.
series of statements that you can meditate on, uh, largely linked to divine thinking.
Yeah. Now, what happens is like, yeah, I think we should take the essence of it. Like you should again the dissociative form of meditation. You should dissociate all the aspects that are not related to the topic of your meditating. Any other thought that
Correct.
comes, you should immediately disassociate with it. Sorry, disassociate it.
Correct.
Sorry. Fine. Function of general meditation. As a rule, mixing up the specialized forms of meditation is not desirable, though theoretically they may all be equally directed toward different aspects of the truth. The task of bringing together the different facets of the truth and building up a whole and complete view of life is attempted by general meditation, in which thought is free, comprehensive, and receptive to all aspects of the truth. Such general meditation has its own value and justification. General meditation is helpful before specialized forms of meditation as well as after trying them, but it cannot take the place of specialized forms of meditation because these have a different purpose and function. Okay. Now once go back to the previous paragraph, Karthik, where it
Yeah.
starts. So the first line saying, as a rule, mixing of specialized forms of meditation is not desirable. Okay, specialized forms of meditation, mixing up of specialized forms of meditation is not desirable. So theoretically, they may all be equally directed towards different aspects of the truth. Okay, so the specialized forms of meditation, the similar example which you were referring earlier, when you are taking specific divine truth and when you are meditating upon that, there will be two or three different topics. When you are meditating, obviously, when you are meditating upon a particular topic, obviously your thought process goes to the similar or a topic which is more relevant to this, which is available in the other truth as well, and our mind tries to make a link between these two or make a parallel between these two, which I think is saying don't do that, isn't it?
Not desirable. Yeah.
Okay. But in generalized meditation, it is you can do that. But when
Correct.
you're doing a specialized meditation, you should just concentrate on it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, like if you take that example of breaking the prison, if you are breaking at a particular point, break at the same point so that you will cross. Don't
Succeed
break.
and make the, yeah. And
Yeah,
don't try to take a brick from every wall and waste time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Okay, fine. We'll go to the next paragraph.
Sure.
Both forms of meditation necessary. The different forms of specialized meditation are comparable to different forms of bodily exercise, each of which may have some specific purpose. Exercise of the muscles is meant only to strengthen the muscles, but this does not mean that the muscles are the only important part of the body. All the type of exercise are important for securing the general health of the body, although it may not be possible to take all of them at the same time. The functions of the different specialized forms of the exercise have, however, to be correlated and governed in the light of one's knowledge of the true health or proportionate development of the body. In the same way, the functions of the specialized forms of meditation have to be correlated with and governed by the whole and complete ideal of life. This the aspirant constructs through the process of general meditation or unrestrained thought, which knows no law except that of finding the truth in all its aspects. Just as specialized forms of meditation cannot be replaced by general meditation cannot be replaced by specialized forms of meditation. Both are necessary and have their own value. Sorry, Baba. Is this para fine, Karthik?
Yeah, I think it's simple.
It's simple and self-explanatory.
Correct.
So we'll go to the next one. Different specialized meditations. For enumerative purposes, the different specialized forms of meditations can be conveniently classified according to the third principle. This here.
So here comes the third principle.
Yeah. On the basis
So
of
the way
those,
it works is the way I see it is, so you have general and specialized, and then under that categorization, in general you have two, and then the third principle under specialized. So if you visualize it, you can visualize it
I
like
understand.
yeah, okay, got it.
I
You
understood.
can
I
just
understood.
use the org chart model, right?
Yeah, it is the same workshop model, but now this is more clear
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
general has
Hmm.
the first two principles. The
Then
specialized
third
is
one,
where, yeah, is it? I'll
okay,
start this line again for enumerative sorry, I'll start this line again.
please.
For enumerative purposes, the different specialized forms of meditation can be conveniently classified according to the third principle on the basis of those items of experience the mind tries to understand. Human experience in all its variety is characterized throughout by the dual aspect of subject and object. Some forms of meditation are concerned with the objects of experience, some are concerned with the subject of experience, and some forms of meditation are concerned with the mental operations that are involved in the interaction of the subject and the object. Thus, three kinds of meditation are defined. Okay. Some are concerned with object, some are concerned with the subject, and some are concerned with the mental
The
operations that
mental
are involved.
operations.
Involved in the interaction of subject and object, which is okay. The subject and object, and the other one is the one which
Mental
actually connects
operations.
these through. Yeah. Okay. The next paragraph. Nirvana, Nirvikalpa, and Sahaja Samadhi. All the forms of meditation that the aspirant, sadhak, might adopt can ultimately culminate through the grace of a perfect master in the goal of the Nirvikalpa state. Nirvikalpa Samadhi, or divinity in expression, is the experience of the Nirvikalpa state of uninterrupted, spontaneous self knowledge of a God realized being, Siddha. It is preceded by nirvana or absorption in divinity. The Sadguru's experience Sahaja Samadhi or divinity in action, which is preceded by the states of nirvana and nirvikalpa. Sahaja Samadhi is the effortless and continuous state of perfection of the Sadgurus, while it is very life of the avatar. Which means that avatar is Sahaja Samadhi.
Correct.
Sadgurus gain Sahaja Samadhi. Something like that?
Yes, correct. Avatars are in Sahaja Samadhi all the time. Whereas Sadgurus gain it through the process. I mean, even arguably, even the avatar gained it in the first time through the same process. First go to nirvana, nirvikalpa, and then stays in that form and comes to body whenever he during an advent. Correct.
He comes back to Sahaja Samadhi. Yeah.
Yes. No, he's always in Sahaja Samadhi, but takes a form during an advent, the avatar. Yeah. Whereas the Sadguru goes through the process and then continues in Sahaja Samadhi till he drops his body.
Okay, yeah. It's better explained, correct. Okay. Now the table of general classification of the types of meditation. The first one is the varied forms of meditation before a person becomes an aspirant. The second one is forms of meditation of the aspirant, sadhak. In this form, the first further subclassification is general meditation as the assimilation of divine truths. This general meditation has three subclassifications, which are philosophical thinking, hearing discourses from the masters, reading the written expositions of the master. And the second form of meditation of the aspirant is specialized meditation, which selects some defined items of experience, which can be further classified into meditation concerned with the objects of experience, meditation concerned with the subject of experience, meditation concerned with mental operations. The last one, the last type of meditation, Sahaja Samadhi or divinity in action of Sadgurus, the avatar. This can be classified, this can be subclassified as nirvana or absorption in divinity and nirvikalpa samadhi or divinity in expression.
So this part is a little confusing, right?
Yeah.
Are they subtypes? They are not. They are not subtypes, right? So very clearly, it's a process. So it's preceded by, he says. So what is preceded by? Nirvikalpa is preceded by nirvana, right? And then post nirvana, you get into Sahaj Samadhi, right? So I think this is not a classification. So there you go. There you have your challenge for visualizing this. Let's see what you come up with.
Karthik, I am also confused is why the nirvana and nirvakalpa samadhi has to be categorized under meditation. Because see where they are absorbed in their divinity, and it's really nicely Baba said their perfection is effortless. It's just there. It's like probably like flower who fragrance, and the fragrance comes out without any effort from the flower. So that's a state of being. Even nirvakalpa samadhi is a state of being. But why is it categorized under meditation? I don't know.
So again, that's if you step back and think about our concept of meditation, it's so what should I say? In our mind, we have a mental block that okay, meditation means I sit down in a particular posture, I do something, and then at the end of it, there is something else. So if you look at these last three states, these are states of abidance or states where you abide in and yet it is meditation. That's what I take away from it. So, in the sense, if once you go to nirvana, that's also meditation. Baba says Sahaj Samadhi. In fact, if you look at it from a Hindi or a Sanskrit meaning perspective, Sahaj Samadhi, if you don't understand it in Baba's terminology, Sahaj Samadhi is a state of meditation, actually, right? I look at it as one is in the evolution of the soul, you go through the phases where you reach nirvana and nirvikalpa samadhi. But in another way of looking at it, when you look at a broader definition and understanding of meditation, even that is a form of, that is a state or classification of meditation. Does that make sense?
Can you, I know we read it, but I don't remember it. What was Baba's definition of meditation again? I know he said different things at different times, but in Discourses, I remember when we read it, there was a definition of what meditation is. And I remember we emphasized on it and we talked about it, but
So I think
I don't remember.
No, here, come to the page, this 213.
213, okay.
No, come down. The first paragraph of this part 3, he was the first.
Oh, part 3, okay.
The first paragraph of the
There
part
was again
3,
yes. There was a definition. Correct.
I think that,
Yeah.
From the tiger, the tiger intent upon devouring a lamb that it has spied meditates upon the lamb. The lamb, in turn, having sighted the tiger, meditates upon the tiger. The passenger who waits on the platform for a train is meditating upon the train, and the driver of the train expecting to be relieved.
Examples. These are examples,
Yeah.
But if you want a definite definition in text, I would say when meditation seems something as
That is a systematic thinking.
No, but I think in the first part, there is
when it starts.
Then 201.
Sorry.
The first line.
Here maybe.
First line. The first line.
Meditation
may be described as a path that
the individual cuts for himself.
Okay, no, there must be something general outline. So it's a very broad definition, right? So it's a very broad definition, and one has to take it in the way that everything from the 5-minute meditation that you do when you sit on a train and you just want to be by yourself and you're listening to music and focusing on, meditative music and doing meditation, to the lamb being the focus of meditation of a tiger, to nirvana, nirvikalpa, and sahaja samadhi. All of them are meditation. That's what I'm taking away.
Exactly. That's what I was also trying to put it, is that in simple language, like in a day-to-day way of speaking, we say thinking. So that thinking itself is meditation, but the difference is you have you think in a certain framework with a when you think in a certain framework with a object, like with a with a goal to come out of it, that can be termed as a meditation.
Yes.
Jai Baba, I think that as far as I understand, meditation is a very contextual thing, number one. It can be interpreted in different ways depending on what stage of life you are in, what kind of consciousness you have. So I think that if you are looking at this table on page 217 later on, you will come to another table on page number 229.
Correct.
So I think if you relate that both, then you will kind of understand what is meditation. So for me, meditation is self-awareness every waking moment. Whatever you do, like Krishnamurti is saying, the only thing in life you can do is brush your teeth better than the last time you did. So if you're able to brush your teeth better than yesterday, that means it's a form of meditation. So everything you do with focus and concentration, which is what we read about the difference between meditation and concentration, that is a form of meditation where you're completely focused on that thing, nothing distracts you. So this is my interpretation of meditation. So meditation is different based on context, based on the situation, based on your state of consciousness, and so on and so forth. Okay, Baba. It's just like the word love. You have different forms of love. You have different forms of meditation. Hey, Baba.
Well put. Yeah.
Very well said, but he has given a very good definition. When you're saying about concentration, that I think perfectly matches to the definition. Kama, will you repeat that line again?
Okay, I don't know which line. Okay, I'll
You
give
said
you a
something
very
on concentration. That was
yeah
actually
concentration and
happening.
meditation. I think we remember in our prior reading there was a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs on meditation and concentration. What is the difference between concentration and meditation? Right, concentration is focus on something, whether in your material life or spiritual life. So meditation is not just about spirituality, because what is spirituality is how to lead your material life spiritually speaking. So the whole concept is that everything you do, see, look, you're not here to, yes, we are here to dissolve our ego, Manonash or Nirvana, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, whatever is aligned to us. But to reach that state of Manonash, you have to start with meditation, which doesn't mean you're sitting. You're whatever act you're doing, whether you're static or passive or active or dynamic, kinetic, you're doing everything with 100% focus or concentration. I mean, just like, the example that Baba has given or Kabir and all that, you see the women in villages in India in the desert, they have to walk miles with pots of water on their head, couple of women. But they are always gossiping and talking. But behind that is always that concentration and focus, the awareness that they need to keep the pots of water on their head well balanced. Similarly, when you see in the construction sites in India, in Bombay, in the cities, people who come as labor work, who take the concrete up and down, these women have given birth to their children, but they have to work. So these children are down there, babies, 6 months to 9 months. Their focus is always on the baby, even though they are working 8 to 10 hours going up and down with the concrete. So that is a form of focus and concentration or meditation, you can call it like, Jai Baba.
I think awareness is a better word, right? So being what JK said, being aware and in the moment of every waking moment, being aware and conscious is meditation. So if you take that broader definition, nirvana is a state where you're absorbed, right? And nirvikalpa, nirvana, and sahaj samadhi also come into a state of heightened awareness, and hence also can be classified as meditation.
No, I think if you go back by God speaks, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Sahaja Samadhi are states which basically pertains to functions. The Majzub is in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, but is only in the God consciousness state. The Paramahamsa is basically alternating between God consciousness and creation consciousness. That is also considered Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But Sahaja Samadhi for a Jivan Mukta and a Sadguru is simultaneously and spontaneously abiding in both states at the same time. And their functions are also different. All four of them, Majzub, Paramahamsa, Jivan Mukta, and Sadgurus, all experience the same God consciousness state, but their functions are different when they are, in that particular state, Nirvikalpa or Sahaja or whatever, like Paramahamsa, Jivan Mukta, Sadguru, and so on. So I think that coming back to meditation, it's all about self-awareness, the whole in the waking state, because you don't have to worry about your sleep state or the sleeping dream state. It's only the waking state of 16 hours is where you are aware that even the suffering, so-called physical or mental suffering you're going through is because of your sanskaras. In short, Jai Baba.
Very good. Yeah, so I think let's continue.
Yes, let's continue. The last one, the table of general classification. I'll just read this paragraph. I think we didn't read the paragraph.
We didn't read the para, yes.
The general classification of the types of meditation has been given in the table of general classification, which serves to summarize the chapter, part 3. Among the different kinds of meditation mentioned in this table, the varied forms of meditation that are encountered before becoming a sadhak have already been illustrated in the beginning of this part. The different forms of meditation will be dealt with in part 4. The different forms of specialized meditation, along with their subdivisions, will each be explained individually in parts 5 and 6. Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Sahaja Samadhi will be explained in part 7 and 8. Okay, so this is just
So
more
there are
a
two
general
parts on, yeah. So I think 4 will take care of general, which is the next part that we're going to read. 5 and 6 will talk about specialized in specialized with their subdivisions, and then finally you have Nirvikalpa and Sahaja Samadhi in 7 and 8 as separate chapters. Okay, so let's go straight to general meditation.
Yeah. Part 4 is the assimilation of divine truths. In part 4, section A is modes of general meditation. Limits of philosophical thinking.
Let's just read the subtopics on Trello and come back here.
Yeah. The topics for this part 4, assimilation of divine truths.
Yeah.
Limits
Section
of philosophical thinking. Section A, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Section A, modes of general meditation. Under modes of general meditation, limits of philosophical thinking, study of revealed truths, value of hearing, advantage of reading. Then section B, reading as meditation. Handicaps of reading, difficulties removed by specific meditation through reading, 3 stages of meditation through reading, subject for meditation, brief exposition for meditation through reading. Section C, the divine truths for meditation through reading. The soul and its illusion, states of phenomenal world, purpose of creation, cause of cosmic illusion, evolution and degrees of consciousness, driving force of evolution, identification with forms, reincarnation and law of karma, subtle and mental bodies, spiritual path, the goal, summary of soul's journey to our soul.
So there are 3 sections here. Section A is modes of general meditation. Section B is reading as a form of meditation. And section C is the list of divine truths. So, and there are multiple divine truths mentioned. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, we can rotate reading as well. We didn't think of that at all. We're so absorbed in reading. Okay, so anybody wants to read? Mahu, you want to read?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay, so thank you, Praveen. Let's continue part 4, section A, limits of philosophical thinking. Yeah, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Limits of philosophical thinking. The beginnings of a spiritual life are marked and helped by general meditation, which is not concerned exclusively with selected specific items of experience, but which, in its comprehensive scope, seeks to understand and assimilate the divine truth of life and the universe. When the aspirant is interested in the wider problems of the ultimate nature of life and the universe and begins to think about them, he may be said to have launched himself upon such meditation. Much of what is included in philosophy is a result of trying to develop an intellectual grasp of the ultimate nature of life and the universe. The purely intellectual grasp of divine truth remains feeble, incomplete, and indecisive, owing to the limitations of the experiences that may be available as the foundation of the structures of speculation. The philosophical meditation that consists in free and unaided thinking does not lead to conclusive results. It often leads to diverse, conflicting systems or views. Nevertheless, philosophical thinking is not without value. Besides leading the aspirant a certain extent into the realm of knowledge, it provides an intellectual discipline that enables him to receive and grasp divine truth when he happens to come upon them through those who know. Okay, let me read this again. To the realm of knowledge, it provides an intellectual, besides leading the aspirant a certain extent into the realm of knowledge, it provides an intellectual discipline that enables him to receive and grasp divine truth when he happens to come upon them through those who know. The next subtopic is the study of revealed truths.
So if I can pause you here for a minute. So
Sure.
Baba is distinguishing between merely focusing on philosophical ideals and concepts and distinguishing that from uh, uh, divine truths. So divine truths are truths and concepts laid out by a master who has gone through the process of realization. Philosophy is more about the intellectual aspects of the true nature of life. So that's the way, and this definition appears multiple times, where philosophy is more the drier aspect, which Baba refers to as purely intellectual and academic, whereas spirituality is full of life, real, and practical way of understanding the true nature, which is only with the help of a master and leads you to the divine truths. Just making that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and along with that, one more point he made is he has given importance to the philosophical thinking by saying that once the person who has gone through the philosophical thinking gets in contact with the master or his writing, because he already had that discipline in the thought process, he will
Yes.
appreciate it better.
Correct. So there is a role for philosophy,
Yes.
but it's always, I mean, divine truths are
Yeah.
much higher in the, yeah.
Exactly. The philosophical thinking can only be said as a foundation,
Correct. Very
Okay.
good. Yeah, that's a better way. Yeah. Go ahead.
Jay Baba,
And
I think
one
that
more thing is,
philosophical. Hello.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just want to give an input here. Philosophical thinking, or it's the divine truths, you can say, are subset of the philosophical thinking. Because there is so many different kinds of philosophy like yogas, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, karma yoga. Within jnana yoga itself, we have so many subsets. So it's a theoretical aspect, one can say, philosophy or even the divine truths. It's from the perfect masters is also a kind of a philosophy. You can call it spiritual philosophy for all you know. But the real thing is when we talk about meditation, that is the actionable part. So the
Practical.
theoretical knowledge has to be transcended by practical understanding or practical experiential understanding. So action of deeds is very important. So action of thoughts and action of words, you can call it the philosophical thinking, but the action of deeds, which I feel is equivalent to the meditational aspect, they go hand in hand. Without knowledge, you can't have action of deeds. So they go hand in hand. To make the knowledge right, you have to execute and experience and understand, experience and realize it. Then only that knowledge becomes, the truth, the divine truth. Jai Baba.
Kartik, I have a comment to make.
Sure.
My understanding is that there isn't any subset, or I mean, I can't understand this subset word. Divine truth is divine truth, is the existence of God. God is, God knows, God does. Baba says that in Meher Baba call. Okay. Now, there are people, we're not all the same. Due to our past sanskaras, some people inherit more intellectual understanding or discipline. Some don't. Some, they're all heart. They have nothing to do with mind. And some, or Baba says, they're a good balance of mind and heart. Okay, so Baba says, with his passionate nature, even the one, he says, intellectual, actually, it went up, the previous page. Those intellectual approach doesn't give you what needs to be understood unless it is experienced. And even if it's experienced, bring it down, please. The purely intellectual grasp of divine, bring it down, please. Down a little bit. No, I want to.
You click the mute button.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I've been talking, and I just, I don't know why I didn't. Anyway, so start from now. Baba says this is very important. The purely intellectual grasp of divine truths remains feeble, incomplete, and indecisive, owing to the limitations of the experience that may be available as the foundation of the structures of speculation. So all those intellectual grasp of divine truths can give us, we can speculate that God is like that, or what Baba says is like that, and so forth. But unless we really experience the divine truth, we know who Baba is. And we really know in real sense what Baba actually says. So having said that, Baba is so compassionate. He says, but it is not completely waste. If somebody has a philosophical thinking,
Yes.
it can actually exercise your mind to develop a discipline. So when you come across the divine truths through those who know, in italic, you know, advanced souls, Mandalis, who knows, Sadhgurus, Sadhana, you know, whomever, you know, they realize that, then it's like, they are more ready, you know, they're ready. It's like you exercise, your muscle is ready for a next action. Same thing here. It doesn't go all to waste. But it is important that we know that philosophical meditation and so forth is not going to take us anywhere. In my opinion, because we have Baba. I mean, if we already have Baba, then why do we have to have a philosophical meditation? Anyway, Jay Baba.
No, I think, yeah, to Kama's point, I would like to add only one thing. So I don't agree with the subset as well. Uh, Baba is relegating anything which is purely philosophical to a lower degree, and the divine truths to a higher degree. And the divine truths is what he's uh, calling as concepts that come with the help of a master and a person, to quote him, who knows, right? On the first one, it's like a scientist. The scientist thinks of the true nature of life and so on, more from the material and the visible and the physical aspects of life, and it's more drier. So if you notice across discourses, whenever he uses the word philosophy, he relegates it to a lower degree, and that's where I think we should leave it from a Baba standpoint. Your statement is more a general statement, Kama, where uh, where divine truths philosophically for I mean under
Well,
can come under philosophy. I am talking from a Baba
say that,
standpoint.
yeah, I think it's the way we interpret. You know, English is a
Exactly.
very ambiguous language. Philosophical meditation, philosophical thinking, we can write reams of theses on that. So I think ultimately what matters is how the spiritual aspirant, whether you're a Baba lover or a different kind of lover, how well you use the philosophical truths and put it into action in your own life. So I think we understand in the East, we are not talking about the Oriental way of thinking, sorry, Occidental way of thinking. We're talking about the Oriental form of thinking where we have the Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga and Raja Yoga aspects. And we do a different permutation combination of that. So Jnana Yoga, you can either be a pure Jnana Yogi like Ramana Maharshi, or you can be a pure Bhakti Yogi like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, or you can do a permutation combination. It all depends. So I don't think we can label who is here. You know, we are all, I think, on the path, and that's about it. You know, Jai Baba.
You broke up a little bit, but yeah, agreed. We can continue from
Okay.
here.
Yeah. All right. The more fruitful mode of general meditation consists in studying the revealed truths concerning life and the universe. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to read the subtopic. The subtopic is the study of revealed truths. The more fruitful mode of general meditation consists in studying the revealed truths concerning life and the universes. This mode of understanding and assimilating the divine truths can start by hearing or reading expositions of the divine truth, which have their source in the masters of wisdom. The discourses or the writings of the avatar and the perfect masters, whether living or of the past, are suitable objects for this mode of general meditation, because the assimilation of divine truths revealed through them enables the aspirant to bring his life into line with God's purpose in the universe. Next
So,
is
well,
value of hearing. Yeah, sure.
I just said, so we are all meditating right now. Just so
Yeah,
that
we are.
in this broader
Yeah.
definition, yes, yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's very true. Yeah. Because our mind this is all about mind, controlling mind, desires, and all that stuff. Because when we are reading here, if truthfully we give our heart and mind to it, we don't think about anything else, not the world,
Yes.
nothing, right? So that's a
Yes.
meditation. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, value of hearing. The divine truths are most easily grasped and assimilated when they are passed on directly to the aspirant by a living master. Such personal communications of the master have a power and efficacy that can never belong to information received by the aspirant through other sources. The word becomes alive and potent because of the life and personality of the master. Hence, many scriptures emphasize the need for hearing the divine truths directly through the spoken word of a master. The mode of general meditation that depends upon hearing expositions of the divine truths is undoubtedly the best when the aspirant has an opportunity to contact a living master and listen to him
I have two comments to make here. The first one, in Oriental or Vedantic thought, a lot of importance is given to this. In fact, there is a word which is equated to Vedanta, which is called Shruti, or all the Vedic knowledge is Shruti. What does Shruti mean? Just that is heard, or that is that which is heard is Shruti. So there is a significant importance to oral learning, and that's what is mentioned here. And the second comment I'd like to make is Baba did not randomly pick up the word for his magnum opus, the title for his magnum opus as God Speaks. It's actually in his own way a joke, and in his own way giving an importance to this oral aspect as well. God speaks, right? And he never spoke, right? So it's a beautiful thing when you think about how he introduces these little uh, jokes, or at one level it's a joke, at another level it's a it's a hint. So it's a great detective story with him, right? So you have to figure it out yourself.
That's
Yeah,
really
Praveen,
great.
you want to say something?
No, no, the one which the phrase which you made, that
Mhm.
is God speaks despite the fact
Yeah,
that
and he
he
never
never
spoke.
spoke.
Imagine the
Actually,
title that he has picked for his most important book, and he was the silent one. He could have said words of the silent master. He could have said so many things. But it is it's worthy of meditation in itself, the title alone, right?
you're
God
right.
speaks. It's worthy of meditation on understanding why Baba picked that title, right?
Yeah, that's what your reference to Smriti. Sorry,
Shruti,
Shruti in this
Shruti,
case
not
is, yeah,
Smriti.
Shruti, not,
Smriti
not
is
Smriti.
that
Yeah, Smriti is
Smriti
that
is
one which
that
is,
is
yeah,
committed. Yeah,
yeah, correct.
that
Yeah,
which is committed to memory. Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, your reference it to the Shruti is really very important reference, and that and this choose the like the I mean the, choosing this title is like the way you have explained it is, I think it's a divine comedy which Baba explained him in
Exactly,
many times.
exactly.
I think I don't know if this is the word he used, divine comedy. Somewhere he used it. when
Yes,
he was
it's
referring.
his phrase. Yes, it's
Yeah,
his
yeah.
phrase.
Correct.
So he leaves these hints everywhere. He leaves these little jokes everywhere for us to think, for us to connect with him, bring a smile to our, daily mundane lives.
Yeah, he always emphasized on the fact that you should be humorous always. You should be humorous in your life.
Correct.
He emphasized this fact actually. Yes.
True. Okay, let's continue.
Conti-
You're on mute if you're reading, Mahu, or you want to rotate, we can
I
get it
finished this
rotated.
part, huh? Karti, I
No, you
finished.
didn't. You have to start
No?
from
Okay,
advantage
as
of
I'm
reading.
here.
Yeah, advantage of
Because I
reading.
was reading it silently on my own while you guys were talking. I'm
Oh,
guilty
okay.
of that.
Okay,
I
go
thought
ahead.
I already read it. Advantage of reading. It is not always possible, however, for the aspirant to contact and listen to a living master. In such cases, meditation through reading has some advantages of its own. For the generality of aspirants, meditation through reading has hardly any suitable substitute because it starts from written expositions, which are available at any convenient time. Meditation that starts from reading about revealed truths has this special an advantage of being easily accessible to most aspirants. That's
All
where
of us
I
will,
think God speaks come. Yeah.
yeah, all of us readily agree to that because we have texts as the only source of connection between us and Baba, whom we didn't meet in the personal form. Meanwhile, I have a little homework based on the previous paragraph. We need to time this discourse. If we are able to figure out when this discourse was given, let's understand if Baba was speaking or not. So was it before 1920 or after 1920? Because most likely it is after 1920 because he's talking about value of hearing and Baba was not speaking at all. So I'm just curious when he gave this discourse on meditation. It should be we should be able to find it through references on the Awakener or on yeah, Meher Baba Journal because those were the places where these were serialized before they became the book.
But Kartik, we must remember that the pre-Mashram time, 1927 to 1929 minimum, not to talk of, but just through the Mehrab, but Baba had a special emphasis on meditation and teaching these kids how to meditate from your heart. So we need to actually consider that too as far as the date goes.
Yeah. I'm more specific on just the release of this text, this message, this discourse, right? When was that done? Yeah. Before he went into silence or after? I mean, it's a minor intellectual our mind thinks like this. We are always curious about things that are least important. Yeah. We can go to section B and we can also rotate reading maybe to a last reader before we wrap up. Anybody wants to
Sure.
read? Thank you so much, Mahu. Maybe I will read for a bit. Yeah, I will read section B. So let's start with section B, reading as meditation. Meditation through reading has its handicaps because most written expositions of the divine truths are meant for intellectual study rather than for assimilation through meditation. Handicaps of reading. And the other reason why it is not lending itself to meditation is there is a lot of importance Baba gives to closing your eyes. So if you're reading, your eyes are open in meditation. The difficulties aspirants experience in this connection are due either to the fact that the method of meditation is not adapted to the subject matter or to some flaw in the method which makes it mechanical and uninspiring, or to the unwieldiness or vagueness of the subject matter used for meditation. So the difficulties, I'll repeat this, the difficulties aspirants experience in this connection are due to the fact that the method of meditation is not adapted to the subject matter, or to some flaw in the method which makes it mechanical and uninspiring, or to the unwieldiness or vagueness of the subject matter. So all these causes which vitiate meditation and make it unsuccessful have been avoided in the specific meditation recommended in this part. So that's not even included in our classifications. By the way, the subtopic is difficulties removed by specific meditation through reading. It is intended not only to explain the manner of carrying on meditation through reading, but also to provide an exposition of divine truths in order to fulfill the requirements of this form of meditation. The usual difficulties existing in meditation through reading have been removed in the specific meditation by ensuring that the process of meditation and the subject matter are adapted to each other and to the conditions of intelligent meditation. By elaborating the different phases of the meditation that start from reading, and by providing a specially prepared brief exposition of the divine truths that is suitable and valuable subject matter for meditation through reading. So a brief exposition of the divine truths that is suitable is provided as the valuable subject matter. So going further, the form of meditation that starts from reading about the divine truths has 3 stages. Number 1, 3 stages of meditation through reading. Stage 1. In the first stage, the aspirant will have to read the exposition daily and simultaneously think about it thoroughly. That's stage 1. So I take a particular text, I take a particular para, maybe I can meditate even on a particular line, and then think about it thoroughly. Then we go to second stage. In the second stage, actual reading becomes unnecessary, but the subject matter of the exposition is mentally revived and thought over constantly. Because you've done first stage so many times, you will remember the text and go to second stage where you just bring back to memory that line or that paragraph or that concept and think about it. In the third stage, it is quite unnecessary for the mind to revive the words in the exposition separately and consecutively, and all discursive thinking about the subject matter comes to an end. At this stage of meditation, the mind is no longer occupied with any train of thought, but has a clear, spontaneous, and intuitive perception of the sublime truths expressed in the exposition. So you go to the meaning. So you have the words in the first one. In the second one, it's still the words, but you don't even, it's already committed to memory. So you just bring it back and think about it. In the third stage, you are going to the meaning. So if you're taking a divine truth and meditating on that, you will be treating the meaning in stage 3. Any comments? Questions? No. So we'll go to subject for meditation. Since intelligent meditation consists in thorough thinking about a particular subject, it follows that the best help for meditation would be a brief and clear exposition of the subject of meditation. The following concise exposition of the divine truths comprises the whole story of creation, as well as a complete account of the spiritual path and the goal of self-realization. The aspirant can intelligently read the exposition and assimilate the sublime truths it embodies. Brief exposition for meditation through reading. This special form of meditation is extremely easy and useful because reading the subject matter and thinking about it have to be done simultaneously. Further, by making the exposition of the subject clear and concise, the probability of any disturbance arising out of irrelevant thoughts is eliminated. It is extremely difficult to avoid the disturbance of irrelevant thoughts while meditating upon some lengthy essay or book, even if it is committed to memory. Spontaneous meditation about it therefore becomes impracticable. The appearance of irrelevant thoughts becomes very probable in lengthy meditation on abstract ideas or on some concrete object of experience. But irrelevant thoughts are extremely improbable if the subject matter used for meditation consists of a brief exposition of the supersensible truth. If the aspirant meditates upon the following exposition of the divine truths in the manner that has been indicated above, meditation will become not only spontaneous and easy, delightful and inspiring, but also helpful and successful. The aspirant will thus be taking a very important step towards the realization of the goal of life. So, if you get this, basically, Baba saying instead of having very broad concepts of the divine theme, specific divine truths, one at a time, can be the object of meditation, whereby your tendency to deviate, tendency to be distracted, which is the nature of the mind, would be far lesser than if you take something more broad and abstract, and for which the aspirant has been recommended a series of divine truths which are there in multiple headings. So we can actually, can we finish it today or?
Yeah, you should finish it because it's
I'll
it's
finish it. Yeah,
essence of God speaks basically, and it is continuous through the chapter that you're reading. So I think you should
I
read
think
it.
we'll finish it. We'll finish it.
Finish the
We'll
reading,
finish
and
it.
then we can finish the reading. Yeah.
I'll finish the reading. But as I said, each of this is a subject of meditation. And as Kama said, now I'm reminded. Yes, this is really the essence of the theme, divine theme, or God speaks in all. So I will read it. Bear with me if it spills over. Section C, the divine truths for meditation through reading. So then there's a further subheading, the journey of the soul to the oversoul. First section, soul and its illusion. Atma, or the soul, is in reality identical with Paramatma, or the oversoul, which is one, infinite, and eternal. The soul is in fact beyond the gross, subtle, and mental worlds, but it experiences itself as being limited owing to its identification with the Sharira, Thula Sharira or gross body. The Prana, Sukshma Sharira or subtle body, which is the vehicle of desires and vital forces, and the Manas, Karma Sharira or mental body, which is the seat of the mind. The soul, in its transcendental state, is one, formless, eternal, and infinite, and yet identifies itself with the phenomenal world of forms, which are many and finite and destructible. This is Maya or cosmic illusion. So this is the
One comment.
first divine truth. Yeah.
Yeah. One comment. Whenever we read the soul, it has to be the soul's consciousness or the consciousness of the soul. That we should remember that. Yes, Jai Baba.
Yes, that's across discourses. That's a key point. Yes, across discourses. Yeah. Okay. Next one, states of the phenomenal world. So again, just to re-emphasize, each of these can be a topic for meditation. So now we go to the second one, states of phenomenal world. The phenomenal world of finite objects is utterly illusory and false. It has three states, the gross, the subtle, and the mental. Although all three of these states of the world or are false, they represent different degrees of falseness. Thus, the gross world is farthest from the truth, God. The subtle world is nearer truth, and the mental world is nearest to truth. All three states of the world owe their existence to cosmic illusion, which the soul has to transcend before it realizes the truth. Third divine truth, purpose of creation. The sole purpose of creation is for the soul to enjoy the infinite state of the oversoul consciously. Although the soul eternally exists in and with the oversoul in an inviolable unity, it cannot be conscious of this unity independently of creation, which is within the limitations of time. What a line. I'm going to read this again. In fact, the whole para, I'll start again. The sole purpose of creation is for the soul to enjoy the infinite state of the oversoul consciously. Although the soul eternally exists in and with the oversoul in an inviolable unity, it cannot be conscious of this unity independently of creation, which is within the limitations of time. It must therefore evolve consciousness before it can realize its true status and nature as being identical with the infinite oversoul, which is one without a second. The evolution of consciousness requires the duality of subject and object, the center of consciousness, and the environment, that is the world of forms. Third divine truth, cause of cosmic illusion. How does the soul get caught up in illusion? How did the formless, infinite, and eternal soul come to experience itself as having form and as being finite and destructible? How did Purusha, or the Supreme Spirit, come to think of itself as Prakriti, or the world of nature? In other words, what is the cause of the cosmic illusion in which the individualized soul finds itself? To realize the true status of the oversoul, which is one, indivisible, real, and infinite, the soul needs consciousness. The soul does get consciousness. However, this consciousness is not of God, but of the universe, not of the oversoul, but of its shadow, not of the one, but of the many, not of the infinite, but of the finite, not of the eternal, but of the transitory. Thus, the soul, instead of realizing the oversoul, gets involved in cosmic illusion, and hence, though really infinite, it comes to experience itself as finite. In other words, when the soul develops consciousness, it does not become conscious of its own true nature, but of the phenomenal world, which is its own shadow. In order to become conscious, let me give you the next divine truth. The next divine truth is evolution and degrees of consciousness. In order to become conscious of the phenomenal world, the soul must assume some form as its medium for experiencing the world, and the degree and kind of consciousness are determined by the nature of the form used as the medium. The soul first becomes conscious of the gross world through a gross form. The consciousness of the gross world that it has in the beginning is of the most partial and rudimentary type. Correspondingly, the soul assumes the most undeveloped form, that of the stone. There is an asterisk. For earlier identification of the soul with gaseous form, see God speaks. So in discourses here, he says stone, but yes, we know that it starts from gaseous forms. Driving force of evolution, the next divine theme. The driving force of evolution consists in the momentum consciousness receives owing to the conservation of the impressions, sanskaras, left by diverse desires or conditions. What a beautiful phrase. The driving force of, I'm repeating, the driving force of evolution consists in the momentum consciousness receives owing to the conservation of the impressions, sanskaras, left by diverse desires or conditions. Thus, the sanskaras cultivated in a particular form have to be worked out and fulfilled through the medium of a higher and a correspondingly more developed consciousness of the gross world.
Higher form.
Sorry, higher form. Thus, the sanskaras cultivated in a particular form have to be worked out and fulfilled through the medium of a higher form, thank you, and a correspondingly more developed consciousness of the gross world. The soul, therefore, has to assume higher and higher forms like metal, vegetable, worm, fish, bird, and animal, until, as last, it assumes a human form in which it has fully developed consciousness in all aspects of knowing, feeling, and willing of the gross world.
Until at last. I think that is a spelling error there. Not as last.
Yeah, as last, and until at last it assumes, yeah. Or the soul as last, comma, it could be as well. The soul, as last, it assumes a human form. Okay, anyway, at last is also fine, but good point, yeah. The same divine theme continues. The manner in which sanskaras result in the evolution of consciousness and the corresponding forms has a useful analog, I think, analogy in ordinary experience. If a man has the desire to act the part of a king on the stage, he can only experience it by actually putting on the garb of a king and going on the stage. This is true of aspirations and desires. They can only be worked out and fulfilled by bringing about an actual change in the entire situation as well as the medium through which the situation may be adequately experienced. The parallel is very helpful in understanding the driving force of evolution, which is not mechanical but purposive. Mechanical is where Darwin stopped, and Baba pointed out it's purposive. Next, divine truth, identification with forms. The sanskaras are not only responsible for the evolution of the form, body, and the kind of consciousness connected with it, but they are also responsible for the riveting of consciousness to the phenomenal world. They make emancipation of consciousness, that is, the withdrawal of consciousness from the phenomenal world to the soul itself, impossible at the subhuman stage and difficult at the human level. Since
read this again. I know we're running out of time. This is Don Stevens writing. I always have difficulty with that. Long sentences, and they make.
I'll read it.
Yeah, please read.
They make emancipation of consciousness, that is, the withdrawal of consciousness from the phenomenal world to the soul itself, impossible at the subhuman stage and difficult at the human level. Since consciousness clings to the previous sanskaras and experience of the phenomenal world is conditioned by the use of an adequate form, body, as a medium, the soul at every stage of evolution comes to identify itself with the form. Thus, the soul, which in reality is infinite and formless, experiences itself as finite and thinks of itself as being stone, metal, vegetable, worm, fish, bird, or animal according to the degree of the development of consciousness. Finally, while experiencing the gross world through the human form, the soul thinks that it is a human being. Next divine truth is reincarnation and law of karma. The soul has fully developed and complete consciousness in the first human form, and therefore there's no need for any further evolution of the gross form, body. The evolution of forms thus comes to an end with the attainment of the human form. To experience the sanskaras cultivated in the human form, the soul has to reincarnate again and again in human forms. The innumerable human forms through which the soul has to pass are determined by the law of karma, or the nature of its previous sanskaras, whether of virtue or vice, happiness or misery. During these lives, the soul, which is eternal, identifies itself with the gross body, which is destructible. Next truth is subtle and mental bodies. While developing full consciousness of the gross world, the soul simultaneously develops the subtle and mental bodies. But as long as its consciousness is confined to the gross world alone, it cannot use these bodies consciously in wakefulness. It becomes conscious of these bodies and the corresponding worlds only when its full consciousness turns inward, that is, toward itself. When the soul is conscious of the subtle world through the subtle body, it identifies itself with the subtle body. And when it is conscious of the mental world through the mental body, it identifies itself with the mental body, just as it identifies itself with the gross body when it's conscious of the gross world through the gross body. Spiritual path. The homeward journey of the soul consists in freeing itself from the illusion of being identical with its bodies, gross, subtle, and mental. When the attention of the soul turns towards self-knowledge and self-realization, there is a gradual loosening and disappearance of the sanskaras that keep consciousness turned toward the phenomenal world. Disappearance of the sanskaras proceeds side by side with piercing through the veil of cosmic illusion. And the soul not only begins to transcend the different states of the phenomenal world, but also to know itself as different from its bodies. The spiritual path begins when the soul tries to find itself and turns its full consciousness toward truth, God. At the first stage, the soul becomes totally unconscious of its gross body and of the gross world and experiences the subtle world through the medium of its subtle body, with which it identifies itself. In the second stage, the soul is totally unconscious of its gross and subtle bodies and also of the gross and subtle worlds and experiences the mental world through the medium of its mental body, with which it now identifies itself. At this stage, the soul may be said to be face to face with God or the Oversoul, which it recognizes as infinite. But though it recognizes the infinity of the Oversoul, which it objectifies, it looks upon itself as being finite because of its identification with the mental body or mind. This is the last stage. Thus, we have the paradox that the soul, which in reality is infinite, sees its infinite state, but still continues to regard itself as finite. Because while seeing its infinite state, it looks upon itself as the mind. It imagines itself to be the mind and looks upon the oversoul as the object of the mind. Further, it not only longs to be one with the objectified oversoul, but also tries hard to fulfill that longing. The goal. In the third stage, the full consciousness of the soul is drawn still further inward toward itself, and it ceases to identify itself even with the mental body. Thus, in the third and last stage, which is the goal, the soul ceases to identify itself with any of the three bodies that it had to develop for evolving full consciousness. Now, it not only knows itself to be formless and beyond all the bodies and worlds, but also realizes with full consciousness its own unity with the Oversoul, which is one, indivisible, real, and infinite. In this realization of the truth, it enjoys infinite bliss, peace, power, and knowledge, which are characteristics of the Oversoul. In the beginning, because the soul has not yet evolved full consciousness, it is unconscious of its identity with the Oversoul. Hence, though intrinsically inseparable from the Oversoul, the soul cannot realize its own identity with it or experience infinite peace, bliss, power, and knowledge. Even after the evolution of full consciousness, it cannot realize the state of the Oversoul, although it is at all times in and with the Oversoul, because its consciousness is confined to the phenomenal world owing to the sanskaras connected with the evolution of consciousness. Even on the path, the soul is not conscious of itself, but is conscious only of the gross, subtle, and mental worlds, which are its own illusory shadows. The divine truth is summary of soul's journey to Oversoul. At the end of the path, however, the soul frees itself from all sanskaras and desires connected with the gross, subtle, and mental worlds. It then becomes possible for it to free itself from the illusion of being finite, which came into existence owing to its identification with the gross, subtle, and mental bodies. At this stage, the soul completely transcends the phenomenal world and becomes self-conscious and self-realized. To attain this goal, the soul must retain its full consciousness and at the same time know itself to be different from the sharira, gross body, the prana, subtle body, which is the vehicle of desires and vital forces, and the manas, mental body, which is the seat of the mind, and also know itself as being beyond the gross, subtle, and mental worlds. The soul has to emancipate itself gradually from the illusion of being finite by liberating itself from the bondage of sanskaras and knowing itself to be different from its bodies, gross, subtle, and mental. It thus annihilates the false ego, that is, the illusion that I am the gross body, I am the subtle body, or I am the mental body. While the soul thus frees itself from its illusion, it still retains full consciousness, which now results in felt knowledge and realization of the truth. Escaping through the cosmic illusion and realizing with full consciousness its identity with the infinite Oversoul is the goal of the long journey of the soul. So that, dear Jivatmas, was the biography of the soul, to use another word phraseology, right? That's the biography of the soul in 4 pages. Thanks for staying over. 4 years back, we used to do 2-hour sessions. Then we made it an hour and a half. So we almost did a 2-hour session today. I think as I was reading this, one of the thoughts that came to mind is it's God speaks in 4 pages, no doubt about it. And it's a more concise text with the biography of the soul than the divine theme. Divine theme is a little longer. But I believe that this is not ready for mass consumption. So if somebody asks me, what's Meher Baba's message? I don't think I will share these 4 pages because these 4 pages need a lot of context and detailed explanation for the reader to actually understand. So this is more for Baba lovers, but that's my personal opinion.
But you know, if you follow, actually, it's good that we're ending here, because if you follow this with reading God Speaks, all these are explained fully. In fact, I was going to say first, second, and third is the first journey, second journey, and third journey. It didn't talk about the fourth, which is a Sadhguru state. So in a way, these are all connected, you know. They're all
No
connected.
doubt.
So that's great.
Absolutely. Any closing comments from anybody else before we wrap up? Thank you very much for staying back. May you all have a blessed, Baba-ful week ahead, and let's catch up again next week. Avatar Meher Baba
Meher
Ki Jai.
Baba Ki Jai. So next week, Kartik, second night for me and morning for you is God Speaks.
No, we still have 3 parts of meditation to be completed. We finished that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking, huh?
Yeah, you're in a rush. And I have further disappointment for you. We have been thinking offline between Kama and I that a good corollary or a good extension of discourses is part 2 of Listen Humanity. Listen Humanity is a 3-part book. The first part is about the Sahvas, the last part is about Avatar, but the second part, which even Ashok loves very much and is very relevant to discourses. So it is a select set of exposition on certain topics which extends what is there in discourses. So we felt that we will read part 2 of Listen Humanity. We have done Listen Humanity as a group before, the full book, but we'll do only part 2 again and then launch God Speaks. So you have at least 4-5 weeks more. No, I would say 6-7 weeks more at a minimum.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah,
Jai,
It's all good, yeah.
Yeah.
Jai
Yeah,
Baba,
sure.
yeah, it's very welcome and it's very relevant.
Yeah, sure. We missed you in the morning,
Yes,
early in the session. Yeah.
I had a drip and all that, so
Oh, what happened?
it's my blood count has gone down. I was late, so I didn't want to. Uh, I'm just going through that. I'll be okay by the next week.
Yeah, I told you yesterday that you didn't sound good.